Today we're going to be doing legs behind the head. Legs behind the head requires a lot of range of motion in the hip, and the degree to which you'll need it is a lot dependent on like body proportions. You know, for those of us who have a long trunk and shorter legs in terms of that ratio, like my body, it's going to be much more difficult for me to get my leg behind my head and back than it would be for somebody who has longer legs to shorter torso. Just because the rotation at the hip won't have to be as great. You'll have a longer leg to be able to catch the back of the head and the back of the shoulder. So that's one thing. Another thing is I don't expect anybody to actually be able to get into the pose. This is definitely something you work up to. Some of you will have more open hips than others. Part of that is anatomical. Another part of it is your patterning and your lifestyle. Some of us, you know, have very open hips naturally, and maybe we're born into certain cultures that actually, you know, encourage sitting on the floor and having this sort of external rotation. So yeah, that being said, if you have any injuries, like knee injuries, ankle injuries, sacral injuries, back injuries, like anything, this is not a class that's set for therapeutics. If you wanted to work with your own postural patterns and whatnot and really learn how to make the poses and work for you, contact me for a private. We can do it online as well.
Quick pause to read the disclaimer.
If you have pillows, get some pillows. If you'd like to stack your blankets, get your blankets. But what we're going to do is, I have my bolster, and the higher up you create this whole setup, the more accessible it's going to be for you to get your leg behind the head. I want my blocks up at a higher height than my bolster. And then just to make this a little bit softer, I'm going to take my blanket, do a sirsasana fold, and I'm going to fold it over. All right, so this is going to be for my head and my chest, just creating this little like ramp for myself, all right? Okay, so you might need a strap, you may not. Bring your chest, the back of your rib cage, over on your bolster blanket situation, your setup, okay? You're going to take a left ankle to right knee. From here, and I don't want you to feel this in the left knee, okay? You can take your right hand underneath that right, or that shin, coming into this figure four, all right? Maybe you stay here and that's totally fine. Remember, this particular pose is going to be a little bit more difficult if you have short legs and a long trunk like me. So from here, maybe you stay here to really open up and crease from this left hip, and crease from there. If you'd like to go into another variation, you can straighten that left leg, lift your chest, and maybe you get your left shoulder in front of that left armpit, okay? And maybe you get that head, maybe you get the leg behind the head, all right? Roll that left shoulder blade down the back and breathe here. As an option, you can try to go for both legs. And when you're ready, slowly release. Straighten the legs. And you can pause here.
If you're interested in watching the extended version or watching the full class, visit my Patreon on the link below.